Are you tired of paying someone else's mortgage? Do you want to place your own but don't know where to start?
Yes.
Give us a call. Watch the video. I don't know what to say after that.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Today we're looking at programs for first-time home buyers. What's out there in the marketplace? We've got Matt Pfleger from Supreme Lending. I'm Eric Sztanyo from Keller Williams Realty, Realty, and TeamStanyo.com, where we are helping you find your way. What are we doing? We're helping you strengthen your family. No, that's not it. I know my own tagline. We're helping you find your home and strengthen your family. We want to get you into a home because you don't have one. This video is for you, the first-time home buyer. We're going to talk about the landscape of programs that are out there where you can maybe save money and some tips on how to about going looking for those programs and what might be coming down the pike in the future that could be good news for you, the first-time home buyer. Matt, take it away. What do we got out there?
Well, obviously there's so many benefits to owning real estate. You know, you can look up the stats on years down the line, equity, wealth that you build when you own real estate. That's everyone's dream, and the easiest way to access that is having a conversation. When you're looking at buying a home for the first time, you want to start with finding someone that can have the conversation about all the different options available to you. Well, the easiest place to start when you're a first-time buyer is laying out the landscape, which is what you want to do here. When you're looking at different first-time home buyer products, there may be a better fit for you, and you want to understand what those options look like. You might qualify for a simplistic conventional loan, but as a first-time buyer, there's certain things that we're all dealing with when you're going through that process for the first time, whether it's a lack of assets or you're working on building credit. And there's certain tools out there that'll help you get to the right spot of being a homeowner and helping you build some of that wealth. If you could break down first-time products in the easiest way possible, I would say there's 3 different categories that clients could look at when they're trying to purchase property. The first would be buyer incentive loans. So a great example of that that is popular in the marketplace would be, say, a doctor loan. You're going through a specific criteria to get a certificate, say, hey, I'm a doctor. Banks will usually have some products that'll bend the rules like that. For first-time buyers specifically, there are things in the marketplace that we can help you qualify for, where if you meet certain income limits, if you get a home buyer education certificate, which is very easy, we can help you walk through that process, you'll qualify for a better interest rate and a better mortgage payment than you would find in the open market if you were not using that first-time home buyer incentive loan.
So if I'm a doctor, I get to save money?
Yes.
Well, all the perks go to the doctors.
Well, and that's why you want to check with your bank, because there's certain products for heroes like teachers, or firefighters, or financial professionals like CPAs. Every bank might have a little bit different of a flavor on what buyer incentive programs they offer.
Okay, I want to go back just a minute. So the first category is these incentive type loans that you might qualify for. So that's number one. But just getting back to kind of setting the table here, you're a first-time home buyer, you don't have a lot of money.
Right.
And in terms of the marketplace, there's more people in this marketplace than there are as you kind of go up the ladder in terms of price point.
Right.
So it's also very competitive. So you don't have a lot of money. It's competitive when you're out there trying to buy a house. The houses they're building nowadays aren't necessarily in the first-time home buyer price point. A lot of them, I mean, some of them are, but most of them are like second and third time home buyer price point.
Sure.
And so it's a challenge. And I know a lot of people, I think when they call first and they're like, well, I'm a first time home buyer, I get like a free house, right? It's not quite what you get, but they're maybe thinking back to incentive programs back after the Great Recession, and they remember hearing like Obama gave you a house.
Yeah.
Didn't that happen?
It did happen. Maybe not to that extent.
But there were maybe there were more programs then than there are now.
Well,
is that fair to say?
Sure. I mean, if you're segueing into another category that still is out there, it's just harder to find, harder to fit into this category, but there are grant programs.
Okay. So number one was these incentive type loans that you might qualify for.
Right.
The second one is this grant money. Let's talk about that.
Well, grant money, usually more local, like municipal products. So for example, making this local, City of Covington in Kentucky has a great product where if you're buying along the riverfront, you meet certain criteria. They'll basically give you a loan, or in some instances, grant programs will literally write you a check at the closing table, say, have a nice day, we wish you well. Those are typically hard to find.
Okay.
They're fewer and far between than they were in years past. And then there's no strings attached, which makes it very easy.
I like checks.
Well, with that, everything has a pro and con. If it's easier to access that money, the qualifications to get that money are a little bit more difficult.
And so these are, like you said, local municipalities. They're trying to incentivize people to come into the area.
Right.
And so the housing might not be as nice. Potentially, they're trying to spruce up the area.
Exactly.
They're trying to draw people in, but it's like they're gonna give me $5,000 or $10,000. Hey, great. Now, some of those qualifications, you might need to stay there a certain length of time. I know. I think in Covington, you have to stay in the house 5 years.
Right.
And because I had someone sell a house who left before the 5 years, and they had to give back a prorated amount of that $5,000.
Correct.
But still, $5,000. I mean, when you're trying to buy your first house, any bit's gonna help.
Oh, absolutely. It helps to project how long you think you might live in that property.
Yeah.
Right. Are you thinking a 2 to 3 year house or a 10-year house? That'll help figure that portion out. But circling back to what we talked about in the beginning of understanding the landscape, having a conversation with a real estate professional or a lender that you can trust to walk you through the different concepts, because each of these options that you might select will have a pro that you're going to like.
Yeah.
They might have a con that maybe you're not too fond of.
Can you do more than one?
You can. Yeah, you can attach some together. There's, again, certain pros and cons with that. But really the one that's most prevalent in the marketplace is probably a good one to spend some time on is down payment assistance programs.
Okay.
That is usually what most people think of when they hear of first-time buyer programs.
All right, let's talk about those.
You know, let's say that there's not a grant program available, potentially you don't qualify for the incentive loan, or maybe it's not the best fit for you. You are kind of teetering back and forth. Do I have enough money for my own down payment plus closing cost, or do I need some help? And so you kind of weigh back and forth. Do I need some time to accumulate those funds, or should I go in with this down payment assistance program? This is important to understand the pros and cons with this product. So usually down payment assistance is you're making a determination based on your income, your credit, your assets. If you qualify for this product, if you do, you might have a higher interest rate, a potential second mortgage, different closing costs that you have to adhere to, and certainly, as you mentioned, some have retention periods.
Okay.
So if you buy, sell, move within a set 5 to 7 year period, you have to pay some of that money back potentially.
Okay. So there are stipulations to them, but how much could we get an example of how much you could potentially save on one of these down payment assistance programs, or is it's just less you have to put down?
Well, less you have to put down.
Okay.
Yeah. So the focus of this is the assistance for the down payment.
Okay.
It's not a way to help you save money on your monthly payment.
Okay.
So if your focal point is assets, this is a great solution for you. I think the maximum of a lot of these programs, let's say that you want to buy a $300,000 house. This product would give you $15,000 towards your down payment.
Wow. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
$15,000. Okay.
A lot of possibilities with that money.
Yeah. Okay, so those are 3 different programs. You've got the incentive loans, the grants, and the down payment assistance. You also mentioned something that might be coming down the pike, helping FHA buyers.
Yeah.
Briefly, could you just give a rundown in terms of like cash, conventional, FHA, and just real quick, how would you categorize those?
Now,
3
do you
types
mean
of-
from a seller's perspective?
Sure.
Well, when you're looking at different offers, you guys want to make an offer on a property as a first-time buyer. Everyone knows the saying, cash is king.
Yeah.
Right? Money's going to be there for the seller faster. Usually there's going to be no appraisal contingency. Things are just cleaner. The sellers are going to like that. Conventional loans, that usually indicates, a larger down payment. Certainly some less issues with the property. FHA, for instance, I think what you're getting at here is there are certainly 2 things that go along with an FHA offer. Number 1 is they have stricter appraisal standards.
Yep.
Sellers don't like that. They don't want the appraiser to nitpick their property. Potentially they pay more money out of pocket in that situation. The second, which as we're going to talk about, I think is a incorrect stigma, but there is a stigma around FHA buyers that potentially there's more credit hurdles, or it won't be as easy of a transaction. Maybe it won't close as, often as a conventional or a cash deal would.
Okay. So just so you guys know, you're watching this, you're the first time home buyer, you might qualify just for the FHA loan, not the conventional. And from a seller standpoint, just like Matt said, they rank them kind of cash is best, then conventional, and then oftentimes FHA. Whether or not that means you're a stronger buyer or not, you're perceived that way. And so if a seller receives 2 offers that are the same terms, but one's conventional and one's FHA, oftentimes they're going to go for that conventional loan because they just perceive that to be a stronger buyer who's going to close, who negotiating through inspections is not going to be as much of a hassle.
Right.
So if you are a first-time home buyer and you're getting the FHA loan, you need to know it could be a little bit more challenging for you.
Right.
Oftentimes those offers get overlooked when compared to other properties, and so you might want to look at properties that might not be getting multiple offers.
Right.
But then you have to consider the appraisal component, which you just said. If that property is not getting multiple offers, does it have something wrong with it that it won't appraise with the FHA loan because it's more stringent? So it's a challenge. It's helpful to work with a realtor and a lender who know what they're talking about, but it can be a little bit challenging. But there might be some good news for FHA buyers. Tell us about that.
Yes, very good news on that, but I would say quick PSA, find yourself a realtor. It doesn't have to be me. Find yourself a lender that will communicate and be there for you when the decision
It does have to be Matt.
Yeah, okay. Well, the point being, when the decision point is coming to a head and you guys are making an offer, you want to make sure you can communicate why you're going FHA, the confidence surrounding this offer about how good your situation is. Has this loan already been underwritten? Can you give that seller some peace of mind that this is a good deal? Transitioning back over to what FHA, and certainly some exciting news with conventional loans that's been transpiring. At the beginning of this year, FHA made some changes to their handbook on how they're actually going to be charging people for their monthly payment.
Okay.
So one of the factors they've been switching around is the mortgage insurance premium is going to be decreasing for the first time in quite a while. So as an example, let's say you buy a $300,000 property as a first-time buyer. That would be the equivalent starting in March. So from now on, as you're shopping, March of 2023, as you're shopping for that $300,000 property, your monthly payment would be the equivalent of $75 cheaper per month.
Back up. So private mortgage insurance is what we're talking about.
Right.
When you're getting a loan, unless you put how much down to avoid that?
Oh, well, that's on conventional. So
Okay.
FHA always has it.
Okay.
Conventional, if you put less than 20% down, you're gonna have PMI in some form or fashion.
And FHA always has that. So if you're a first-time home buyer and you can't qualify for conventional or put down 20%, you've got this PMI.
Right.
We're not talking about that right now, but FHA always has PMI, and that rate is being reduced.
Yes.
And so in the example we're giving, if you're buying a $300,000 house, your monthly payment's gonna go down $75 a month, thereabouts, just because that rate's going down.
Right. I mean, say, it sounds like maybe a trip to the grocery store, but when you actually add this up over time.
For my family, that's like a quarter of a trip to the grocery store.
Right. And well, first-time buyers, they're building that family.
That's right. Yeah.
And so if you actually look at a 10-year segment, hey, I'm going to live here for a while. I mean, you're saving $10,000 in interest over the life of that loan.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
Well, FHA obviously had great news there, but I'm even more excited about what conventional's doing.
Oh.
So as a buyer, when you're researching online, there's different loan programs you see. Obviously, the easy buckets to look at, FHA and conventional, where most people are researching online. Conventional came out, and now for new loans starting in April, they are going to be changing how they actually price different credit and down payment scenarios. So obviously as a first-time buyer, you're working on building credit. You're working on gaining assets. And what they've done is they've made the lower credit, lower down payment adjustments on interest rates a little bit less. So as an example, let's use that $300,000 property for FHA once again. On a conventional loan, you're working on building credit. You only can put 3% down. You have a 660 credit score, you're working on that. You still qualify for the loan, but today you might qualify for a 6.75%. And literally starting in April and May of 2023, that same interest rate would be a 6.375.
Oh, wow.
So it's a very big difference when you're talking about monthly payment and how much interest you would save if you do live there for any extended period of time.
Yeah.
So those are some excellent changes that'll certainly make the affordability crunch that most people are feeling a little bit easier.
And that's really what we're trying to accomplish here today, is to give you guys options when you're thinking through affordability. Some of these first-time home buyer programs that are out there, you can find them. And maybe even more importantly, just making sure you're talking to a professional like Matt, who knows what they're talking about, who can let you know about these options that are available and can help really understand your specific situation, because it's going to be different for everyone,
right?
And give you the best advice for your situation so you can get into that first-time home.
Yeah. Big conversation, a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Reach out to someone you can trust, and obviously we're here to help.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Matt, again, thank you for being here. Matt's contact info will be in the description below. And if you want to reach out to him, please do. We send a lot of people his way because, as you can tell, he knows what he's talking about and he's really great. Guys, if this content was helpful for you, please like, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, share it with,
all your friends.
All your friends, your nieces and nephews.
They'll thank you in 10 years when they buy a house.
That's right. They gotta buy a house. Thanks you guys. Thanks you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
I feel like we're coming into our own now.
I know, we're grooving.
Easiest way to categorize these.
Would that be you?
That would be me. Yeah, I can help with that. Are you tired of paying someone else's mortgage? Do you want to have a place of your own but don't know where to start? Call Eric and Matt. We'll help you out.
You sound like he sounds like a Ghostbusters.
Are you troubled by strange noises in the middle of the night? Then don't wait another minute. Pick up your phone and call the professional.
Are you tired of paying someone else's...
Go Ghostbusters!